I think I'm the poster child for the hamstring paradox. Just last week, bending down, not even fast, just bending to grab the TV remote, and boom,
Hmm.
that little sharp reminder. It's kind of absurd, isn't it? These incredibly powerful running muscles, and they go out picking up like a pen.
Hmm.
So why? Why are our hamstrings, these crucial engines, so darn fragile sometimes? That's what we're digging into today, the hamstring paradox. We're looking at the science from, well, how we move to the tiny stuff happening inside the muscle cells.
Right. And it's not just one single thing, is it? It's more like layers of paradox. You've got biomechanics clashing, our evolution playing a part, and how our modern lives kind of mess things up.
Okay, lots to unpack. But first, a quick mention of our sponsor. This deep dive is brought to you by embersilk.com. Embersilk is the answer for all your AI education and integration needs. All right, paradox number one, Lombard's paradox. This one's a classic biomechanics puzzle. When you say stand up from a chair, your quads, the knee straighteners, and your hamstrings, the knee benders, they fire at the same time. How does that even work? Aren't they opposites?
They are antagonists at the knee, yes, but the key is that most of these muscles are biarticular. They cross two joints, the hip and the knee.
Ah,
And then because the leverage, the moment arm, is different at the hip compared to the knee, especially for the rectus femoris in the quad when they both contract, the net effect is actually hip and knee extension.
so they work together to push you up, even though they pull opposite ways at the knee.
Exactly. It's a really clever, efficient system for movements like standing up or climbing stairs.
Okay, so mechanically they're pretty sophisticated.
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain why hamstring strains are like the number one injury keeping athletes off the field in running sports.
No, it doesn't. For that, we need to look at evolution and how we run. Humans evolved, a pelvis shape and muscle attachments optimized for efficient upright running.
Right, endurance running.
Endurance running, exactly. But this might have come at a cost to, let's say, peak power or flexibility compared to other primates. The big risk comes during sprinting. As your leg swings forward really fast, the hamstrings have to slam on the brakes. They lengthen while under massive tension. That's eccentric contraction.
Okay, they're acting like shock absorbers, but lengthening ones.
Precisely. And that forceful lengthening is what usually causes the muscle fibers to tear. It's a huge strain.
And then our modern lifestyle walks in.
Yeah.
Sitting. We spend so much time sitting. Right?
Yeah.
Hips bent, knees bent.
Which puts those two joint hamstrings in their shortest possible position for hours.
Mm-hmm.
And the nervous system, well, it adapts. It starts to think that short length is the new normal.
So that tight feeling isn't just the muscle being physically short.
Not entirely. It's often the nervous system basically guarding that new, shorter default length. It's saying, whoa, don't stretch further than this, which makes you incredibly vulnerable when you suddenly ask for full range, like in a sprint or a sudden lunge.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let's talk fixes. Eccentric training, like the Nordic hamstring exercise. Everyone talks about it for prevention. How does slowing down that lowering phase actually, make the muscle tougher at the cellular level? This feels like the deepest paradox.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting down at the microscopic level. Studies, particularly looking at the biceps femoris long head, the BFLH, have shown some amazing things. After about 9 weeks of regular Nordic curls, people saw, on average, maybe an 8% increase in muscle size, which is good, but they saw a massive, 40% increase in knee flexion strength.
40%. Wow.
But here's the really cool part. They directly measured what happened to the muscle fibers. Fascicle length, the length of the fiber bundles increased, sometimes up to 33%.
Okay.
And how did they get longer? By adding more sarcomeres, the tiny contractile units in series, like adding links to a chain, they found up to a 49% increase in the number of sarcomeres end-to-end in some parts of the muscle.
So wait, instead of just stretching the existing muscle units further.
Right, muscle actually builds more units end-to-end.
Exactly. And if you have more sarcomeres in series, when the whole muscle stretches during that eccentric braking action.
Each individual sarcomere stretches less.
Precisely. Less strain on each unit means less chance of reaching the breaking point. That's the protective mechanism.
That's fascinating.
And crucially, other research suggests that earlier in training, say around 3 weeks, you might mostly just see the existing sarcomeres stretching out. That offers some protection, but it's not the same. The real structural change, the adding of new sarcomeres, serial sarcomerogenesis, seems to be a longer-term adaptation. It takes that sustained effort over weeks, like 9 weeks in that study.
Which explains why consistency is so key if you stop doing the exercises. those adaptations likely reverse. The extra sarcomeres might be resorbed, the fascicles shorten again, and you lose that protective benefit. You need to keep the stimulus going. So really what's kind of amazing is that overcoming these paradoxes, the evolutionary compromises, the modern life issues hinges on understanding this timing. You need sustained training to trigger that shift from just temporary stretching to actually building a more resilient muscle structure.
A sustained stimulus for a structural change. That's a great takeaway. Well, this has been incredibly insightful. If you listening found this deep dive valuable, please do subscribe to the Intellectually Curious series and maybe leave us a 5-star review. It genuinely helps get these discussions out there. Thanks so much for joining us today.